Hello everyone and welcome to another F1 My Team episode, and this is round number 6 for the Spanish Grand Prix at Catalonia. Now, before we jump into this one, there's big spoilers ahead, so the title might be a slight giveaway, so go check out the previous episode, link up in the top right, because as I perform a beautiful 360, we have a lot of updates here this weekend. So, first of all, practice, which went reasonably well. However, we was 1.1 seconds off terrible chair. That was on 98% AI for practice. So considering I'm 1.1 seconds off, I'm going to consider going down to 95 for qualifying. It seems like the latest patch, which may have fixed AI straight line speed, doesn't actually seem to affect my team that much. So maybe you have to start a new save, who knows. Either way, here is the weather forecast for this weekend, which promises to be dry, and we have breaking news. This weekend we have 5 upgrades on the car. 3 of them are major, and we have a major one in each of the 3 departments, so aero, chassis, engine, and then we have 2 minor ones for the durability, which means we've overtaken AlphaTauri and we've taken a massive step into the midfield. We also have another major upgrade for the aero on the way. So this is it. This is the biggest step we've taken in this entire career mode so far, and we've gone from being in 2 races being the bottom team to now being a solid midfield team. So with that in mind, even though we are towards the bottom of the midfield, the expectation needs to change because we're aiming a bit higher now with a better car and better performance. So we jump into qualifying and we're going to see if that improvement takes us to maybe higher ground and better grid positions. We got very close last episode in Miami to getting Q2. If you didn't see it, again, check it out, but that was a real step in the right direction. Our first lap though in Q1 is a 17.2 and it gives us P10 and last place at the time. We then got pushed down to P22, so a bit of a reality check with Paul Chair down in P21 as well. So it wasn't really the start of qualifying that I hoped for. Now for the second run, I actually just tweaked my tyre pressures a little bit. I put the rears down and the fronts up a little bit just to try and have a bit more front end bite and then less rear overheating. And we're going to see if we improve as we make our way into turn 1, now through turn 2. Absolutely beautiful through there, keeping it nice and tidy as we go flat out through turn number 3. Now down into turn 4, brake at the 50, down to 5th gear. We do run a little bit wide with some front end wash as we push out a little bit. Now down to turn 5, try to turn in early to get the nose in and use the camber, then drive off using all the runoff curb as we now head into 7 and 8. Left right combo, try to avoid the sausage curb as we now go uphill through turn 9. Little quick downshift just to get some rotation, then quickly back up to 7th as we open DRS, and we're 3/10 up as we spot the braking into turn 10. Nice and early on the apex, let the car run wide and bring it back in to open up the right hander of 11. Long right as we then approach the final section here, turn 12, 13, 14 in this little chicane section here. Very complex, short shifting to 4th, making sure to avoid the sausage curbs at all times, and this has been a magnificent lap, and we improve by 7/10 and move into P13 with a 116.5. We then went back to the pit lane. You can see we're currently sitting 14th as Leclerc did improve. Aitken right now on the cusp of elimination. He's about a 10th and a half behind us, so we're going to have to go out again. Paul Chair half a second off our pace, and we're looking pretty damn good, but the AI always find time on their final qualifying run. It's exactly what happened in Miami. You know, we was in Q2 and then the AI found pace right at the end. So we're going to go again for another push lap, and this is now our 3rd set of tyres that we're burning. So down to the first corner again, braking just before the 50. There's a little line of tarmac on the left that breaks up the AstroTurf, the green paint, carrying the speed through turn 3, and we're pretty much level with our previous first sector. Turn 4, brake at the 50, turn in. This time we keep it nice and tight, and we do have a bit of oversteer there on the exit, which doesn't really help. Overall though, it's a decent start to the lap and we're up compared to our previous best. However, I do know there's more time to find, considering we had some oversteer out of turn number 4. through 7 and 8, keeping it nice and tidy. We find a bit more time through there, but we lose the back end and hit the wall. Luckily, no damage, and luckily, nobody improves that much, and we progress into Q2 in P16 for the first time since, I believe, the end of last season, possibly Mexico or maybe even Zandvoort. Either way, the difference is this time we've done it legit. We outqualified Paul Chair by 2.5 tenths in Q1, and with that we can now move into our first legit Q2 of the season, because I actually think Teo Paul Chair actually underperformed considering, the car's improvements, rather than us, outperforming him by much. Either way, our first lap, as you saw, wasn't great. We invalidated. We set a 16.8, which is invalid, but it gives us a reference to aim for. We've done a 16.5 in Q1. We've got a 16.8 banker invalid in Q2. And now our very last set of tyres here to burn. We're going to give it everything on a one-shot qualifying, basically, in Q2 and see if we can improve. So let's go for the full lap. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and this time you get the engine sound. Here we go, up to the line, and it's a 1:16.3, which is a massive, massive lap. Unfortunately, that is it for our qualifying, but still P15, we will take that. What an improvement, and you can see we out-qualify Latifi, who did a fantastic job in the Williams, considering, they're the worst car on the grid, to get into Q2. So, yeah, and if you look at the gap to Gasly in the AlphaTauri, we're 3 tenths off. So, I think overall, we should have beaten Pierre because the AlphaTauri is a slower car than ours, but Pierre done an excellent lap, so I can't really fault it. As for us, there was one small little error in turn 4, but other than that, not much more wrong with the lap, to be fair, and that was my personal best. So I'm happy. We extracted everything out of the car. We got the maximum out of it pretty much, and yeah, P15 was the best we could do here today on Saturday. So yeah, guys, qualifying is done here at Spain. We're now going to move the AI back up to 98, which is what we've done in practice, and that should set the race pace pretty nicely. So yeah, guys, qualifying done. Let's get into the action.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day, he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat out this weekend. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position today, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Sainz, Charles Leclerc, and Fernando Alonso. Perez, Russell, Albon, and Guan Yu Zhou. Mick Schumacher, Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel, and Gasly. Martinez, Latifi, Jack Aitken, and Esteban Ocon. Sonoda, Stroll, Teo Pourchaire, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
Here we are for the race at Catalonia. P15 on the grid after an excellent qualifying. We're looking to hopefully get points once again. I think it's going to be a bit tougher than Miami. I don't think we'll have the same pace, but we've still got a chance, and I'm looking forward to it. Strategy for this race is going to be a bit different. I'm going to roll the dice a bit and start on the hard tyre. I feel like if I can make it work and stick with the pack and not lose too much time, the medium later on will be a massive advantage for us. So we'll see how that works out. I feel wise, I'm going to go for 0.5 over. Other than that, we're looking pretty decent. I'm just going to basically tweak the tyre pressures really quickly for the race. So I'm going to go back down on the fronts and keep the rears. Actually, I'll keep the fronts the same. I'll keep it all the same because I'm on the hard tyre. So I want to make sure I've got some temperature and some grip. So let's get into it. It should be a fun race. Not known for overtaking, I'd say, the Spanish Grand Prix, but still, strategy will be key. And we still don't know if anybody's on the soft tyre, so let's get into it. Leave a like if you're going to enjoy it, and let's get into the action. It's been a bit more of a busy formation lap for us, as of course, since the latest patch, now you actually start the race on stone cold tyres. So trying to get some temperature in the hards has been a bit of a challenge, but we've managed to just about get some temp. I'd like a little bit more, which we will try and get before we line up on the grid box, but it's not going to be easy. Just trying to go lock to really scrub the fronts up. I'm going to get a bit of rear tyre temp now before we drive off, and there we go. Right, line her up and let's get into it. Just about managed to save that and stop it from being 1.2. Let's get into the action. Hopefully a fun race, and hopefully the hard tyre works. Here we go. Away we go. I tried to cover off Latifi there, but didn't quite get the rear traction or grip. Down to turn one. I'm going to go to the outside. Gasly getting forced wide there by Latifi. So we're down a place. That's okay, it's not too bad. We've got Ocon on soft, Sebastian Vettel on soft as we get past Pierre, who runs a bit wide. Now into turn number 4. He usually does it through here. Just trying to be careful and mindful that we are on a hard tyre, so the grip won't be great. We've got to kind of bring the temperature in gradually. Ocon's going to be getting past here pretty quickly. I don't think I'm going to be able to hold him at bay on that soft tyre very long. Ideally, if we can let Ocon go, but then get Latifi, that would be the ideal scenario, I think, in this case. Ocon though, not quite getting the run through turn 9, so we'll stay in front for now as I try to have a look around the outside of Latifi there, but no way through for now. It's not going to be easy this hard tyre, that's for sure. It's going to be a challenge. We've got a bit of too wide action ahead. That's Zhou Guanyu and Sergio Perez as we make our way into the final chicane. Very, very slowly. No damage, just battles ahead of us, causing people to go slow. We're going to let Ocon go here and be tactical with it, be smart. No point in racing a car on soft tyres. But look at our straight line speed. We're actually doing pretty well. I'm not going to hold my car on the outside or let Ocon take the race in line. But that's encouraging. The fact that our straight line speed is that good without any use of ERS, that means it will be pretty hard to pass on the straights this race. Okay, we've fallen out of the DRS range of Ocon. We've got Magnussen behind. I set a personal best. Luckily, like I said, we've got very good straight line speed. We're actually faster than cars with DRS, which is insane for me to even say. But yeah, Ocon's still not able to get past the Latifi, who is also just hanging on to Sebastian Vettel's DRS. I think the minute that breaks away, things will start to open up. For now though, the pace isn't terrible to say we're on the hard tyre. A few more laps and things should start to swing in our favour a bit. 3 personal bests in a row, 19.9, 19.8, 19.6. I'm doing what I can with the pace. On the limit pretty much every lap. Yellow flag ahead of us. That's good news. We'll gain a place. Let's see who it is. There we go. It's Zhou Guanyu in the Mercedes. Is that an engine failure? And oh, we got Schumacher off as well without a front wing. That's also changed since the new patch. So front wing damage will now affect you more. In other words, you're probably going to have to pit. With Schumacher in the gravel, so that moves us up into P14. Looks like no safety car or virtual safety car though. Either way, 2 places gained, and that's going to help out our strategy nicely. As Magnussen still can't get past, our straight line speed is very, very strong, which is so refreshing and encouraging for a change. And that little incident has helped us gain a bit of time back on Ocon, which is good. There's a big battle in front, something's happening. I can see more cars closer than they were a lap ago as Ocon pits and has had enough of those soft tyres. I've done 3 19.7s in a row, that's kind of our pace right now. But there's a huge battle for P3 on the minimap, and we're all about to join back up just as we approach the pit window, so all the advantage from the cars ahead is going to get completely crushed. So this is going to really help us out in terms of our strategy. I'm expecting Ocon and those who have pit to go for the hard tyre, so we're going to have a massive advantage later on when we pit for that medium. We're going to have not just a fresher tyre but also a much faster tyre, so if we can make this stint work, this could be key for us. More cars in the pits as we have a bit of a moment through the final part of the lap. We're still going to set a personal best though, as I've used quite a bit of battery in that one. 19.4, Sebastian Vettel in. Looks like nobody else on soft tyre except for Seb and Esteban, so we're P12 now. Let's try and work towards closing up to Latifi here. That's going to be really, really crucial before we arrive at the pit stops. First warning for track limits through turn 9, just carrying a little bit too much speed, but that's okay. I'm not too concerned about track limits around here. Right, Latifi has caught up to the cars ahead and is actually battling in 4th position now versus Max Verstappen. It's a huge multi-car battle. You can see how we're just catching up, and Latifi is actually ahead of Verstappen now, so he's got by. Maybe Verstappen has damage. Oh no, one Latifi goes off track. This is what I'm talking about now. They are losing time amongst themselves, battling away. 2 Red Bulls, a Ferrari I can see in there, McLaren. Pretty competitive cars, all kind of losing time. Sainz though in the pits. And we're now P11, but crucially we're back in this fight now. This is very, very interesting. We'll see how this pans out. Okay, finally we've got ourselves DRS. Now I can try to save a little bit of battery before all of these cars pit and we get left alone, in which we're going to have to use the battery again to kind of stay competitive on the hard tyre. So very important phases here, trying to keep the battery recharged and not use any of it and just depend entirely on DRS. Just realised we're saving no fuel at all. We're really burning up fuel this race in a big, big way. I started with 0.5 extra and we're down 0.25. That's the most we've lost, I think, all season. So we're going to have to fuel save. I'm going to try and use the fact these guys are battling and the DRS to make some fuel save happen. Oh, there we go, Latifi pits. Right, let's push on. Gasly also pits. I've got to try and save fuel, man. This is a big problem. Forget the ERS. This isn't ideal.
Okay, Teo's in the pits. Teo in the pits.
Gonna have to try and lift and coast a bit and let the car kind of roll, but it's not going to be easy, man. This is an issue that I wasn't suspecting at all. Verstappen, Norris pit. I think I just missed out on DRS on Perez, which is a bit of a shame.
We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums.
Okay, cheers, Jeff. Hopefully we'll save a bit of fuel in the pits. I am kind of relying even on just a virtual safety car just to help me coast in 8th gear, but fuel is a big problem. I'm not going to be able to push at any point for the rest of this race with this level of fuel consumption, which is going to ruin our strategy because I have to push flat out. Okay, Checo in the pits. And also Daniel Ricciardo, I believe. Hamilton has already done his stop and is leading comfortably in this race. No, it's actually Norris in the pits, never mind. So we're going to be P2 by the looks of it. No, Norris is actually way ahead of us, my god. Fair play, Lando.
Okay, information on Verstappen. They're retiring from the race.
Please, this would really help me out. Any form of a safety car or VSC now, we could pit and we would be cashing out massively. I'm convinced the safety car's bugged. I haven't had one in such a long time. But a VSC at least. Looks like we're not going to get one though, which is a real shame. This would have been perfect. Anything we get now would be perfect. VSC or safety car, I'm taking it. Still a huge battle going on in the midfield. I can see on the mini-map. There's actually quite a big gap and, you know, they're quite a long way away. I think we still have benefited from just going long with the strategy, even though I'm not driving flat out. I'm having to manage my pace and use higher gears. We're managing to save some fuel, and I think I'm driving fast enough that I can get this fuel back on target. This pit stop's going to help, hopefully get me back to level. Easy does it into the pit entry. Make sure we take the pit in second gear so we save a bit more fuel rather than taking it in first. But let's see, man. If we can have a nice clean stop here, this is going to put us right out in that pack, but on stone cold tyres, which is going to be very interesting. Here we go. Alright, where we go.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
This is going to be 4th position. If we can rejoin here ahead of Seb, cold tyres, yes, but if we can hold on to this, we're already in the points. Just got to be careful with the cold rubber. And also, the good thing about being on mediums now is that I can actually manage the fuel a bit. If I can just stick with the cars ahead. Seb around the outside here. I'm going to try and hold my own. Into turn 5 we go. Trying to go on the outside, but no way through. Now Albon trying to get past. I'm not going to fight it too hard. We're still in the points. I've got to be smart. What we're going to do here is to sit in the train for a couple of laps. Really try to recharge the battery and get some fuel back on target. And then once we're good to go, we can start to really push on the tyres. Just got to be patient. Still a long race to go. We've got a massive advantage on tyre wear and tyre freshness, you know, tyre performance, all of it. So let's try to use that and not throw away. I would say there's a P5 on the table here, I believe, if we count all the places ahead of us. So we can definitely get some decent points in this race. And also Latifi and Ricciardo have dropped away thanks to that battling. So let's see. Fuel is now finally back on target. 60% charge. Let's give it 3 or 4 laps and see what we can do in terms of recovery. Going to keep going for the lift and coast and the higher gears and see if it'll help us out a bit. Okay, we're on the cusp of a bit of a decision to make. There's a breakaway happening. Ocon and Perez pulling away from Alonso. Seems to be struggling. Alonso has Seb and Albon for company. We're going to go for some moves now. I've got a bit of fuel back on target, so I may as well take the opportunity and try to leapfrog a couple of cars in the queue. Look at this straight line speed for a change. My god, that is so refreshing. What a difference. Ahead of Albon we go. One by one we're going to try and get our way to the front of the queue. And ideally I want to just sit. I want to sit just behind Albon if I can. That would be perfect. Oh, sorry, Ocon I meant. As Albon's putting pressure on.
Safety car's out. We need you to reduce your pace. It looks like there's a high amount of debris on the track. Be careful.
Right, now this is a game changer. I could have done with this a couple of laps ago, but this is great news for us. Safety car for the first time in a long, long time. We're going to get to save our fuel, and we have a massive tyre advantage with the mediums. Shame, because I was doing well in terms of fuel saving and the ERS management, and I would have actually pretty preferred to not have a safety car, because I think I could have got P5 on track myself. But the good news about this is going to bring everyone back in line, and we've got a chance here. So race situation, we've got Hamilton out front, then we've got Norris in P2. I believe Charles Leclerc P3, George Russell P4 in the Haas. That is the first of the cars when I'm starting to think I could finish ahead of. I think Russell P4, Ocon P5, and then Alonso P7 and Vettel P8. I think a P4 is, a P5 is on the table today. I think Perez would be too fast for us. But Vettel, Alonso, Ocon, Russell are all targets. Now I'm expecting the safety car in this lap, I think. Gonna try and get a bit of rear tyre temp in. That's once the Haas catches up, it's go time. And there we go.
Okay, let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember there's no overtaking until the timing line. Safety car in this lap.
Tyres going to be a little bit cold. That's okay. We'll work them a little bit and get some temp in. Fuel is good to go. I made sure to not save too much fuel and be overweight, but we've got nearly a lap, so that's going to be fine for us. Let's get ready to go then. We can get to work straight away. Tyres a little bit cold, but we're going to use our straight line speed.
Green flag, we're racing again, let's go.
We're going to waste no time here and try to put some pressure on Sebastian Vettel. To the outside we go. Seb goes on the inside, bit of contact, but we're through. And we're up into P8. Fernando Alonso next. Of course, the AI are going to be struggling on that hard tyre, even though they've got full power for a couple of laps. The hard tyre is not going to be a racy tyre, so we're going to have the upper hand. Meanwhile, Perez getting past Ocon. Hopefully he does get the move done. That would put Ocon in a vulnerable position as Seb tries to look back up the inside there, but we just about closed the door on him. Perez does get past as we try to keep the pressure on. This is our race now. We can definitely get some big points today. The strategy has paid off. Going long on the hard tyre, that's definitely the way to go. He's got so much more grip. I think we can get Alonso here, just without DRS alone. And now I get to push flat out. I dare I say I might have some tyre temp issues in a couple laps, as I'm going to be pushing as much as I can. The rears might get a bit hot, but look at this. There's so much more mechanical grip. Alonso getting pretty decent traction out there, to be fair to him. But let's try and go for the move. Here we go. Come on, come on. P7 here on the table. Alpine's got a bit more juice compared to the Aston Martin. Alonso keeps it tight, but we go through and we jump into P7. Up next, Esteban Ocon. Let's get after him. Here we go then. No DRS just yet. That will be next lap. I was going to try and go for Ocon there, but we've just had a moment on the rear. Hamilton setting the pace.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
Right, this is going to make things a lot easier for us. It looks like Leclerc's struggling. He can't keep up with Norris and Hamilton, so Leclerc's going to be dragging this train of cars along. Although it seems like Perez doesn't quite have DRS on Russell yet. Here we go, Ocon doesn't have DRS on Perez. So this is going to help us now make the move. Just going to stay nice and close through this final sector. Make no rash mistakes or overdrive. Just keep it nice and tidy. Trying to manage the rear tyre temps a little bit. Just got a nice clean exit, unlike the last lap. And we should be able to get the move done here. Nice, there we go. Use the battery. We're a bit further back than we were with Alonso, but this time we've got DRS. And that is going to be the game changer. Here we go for P6 in this race. Look at the speed down the inside on Ocon. Don't outbrake ourselves like we did in Miami. And job done. P6 for us. Can we get anything else out of this race? It seems like Russell has genuine pace, so he may not be easy to pass because Checo can't get near.
5 laps of fuel remaining. 5 laps of fuel left.
Even still, I'll take a P6 right now. Let's see the fuel real quick. Look at that, we're down to 0.77 already. You can see how much we're burning in this race, it's crazy. Lando Norris fastest lap, 17.5, and he's battling Hamilton for the race win. They're battling right now into turn 1. This would be a massive, massive shock. Leclerc now having to defend from Russell for the podium. We set a personal best on that lap thanks to DRS. But I don't think I've got the pace to really close up to these three. Here we go into the final sector on the last lap. Still pushing flat out, but I can't catch up to these three. I'm actually going to just back off now and coast it. I tried. I was hoping for maybe a bit of last lap shenanigans. You know, Russell maybe get into a scrap. Leclerc, though, is going to hold on for the final podium place. But we're going to bring home a phenomenal P6. Lando Norris picks up the win. Russell finishes P4 in a Haas. What a crazy race. We'll take it.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Another Spanish Grand Prix is over, and what a special race it was. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm very happy to see them there on that top step of the podium.
What a race, what a performance, and the strategy worked out perfectly. I think we would have finished about P6 anyway without the safety car. I think I had the pace obviously to get past these cars one by one. It just would have required a bit more fuel management. That aside though, really good race. The hard tyre, if you can make it work in the first stint and go long, it's a game changer. I think the real key X factor in this race was once the traffic pit and they went onto the hard tyres, they just kept on battling, you know, with those hard tyres, and they were losing time, whereas we were still staying out, you know, setting decent lap times. Even though I was saving fuel, the pace was still strong, and that made the key difference. I don't think the difficulty was a problem. I think we got it spot on. If you look at the race, you know, Sebastian Vettel and the Aston Martin, I mean, they're, you know, similar performance to us. They were just about the same pace. I just think I had a tyre advantage at the end. And in the first stint, I wasn't able to keep up. You know, I was dropping away from Latifi. You know, Latifi, the Williams, which is slower than us, was pulling away. So I do think it was more about IQ being smart, strategy, and, you know, playing our cards right rather than difficulty being too easy, because, you know, Paul Chair was with us in that first stint as well up until the pit stop. So yeah, there is your final order. Norris, the shock winner ahead of Hamilton and Leclerc. Russell in a fantastic P4 and continues to have a great season with Haas since he's moved from Mercedes. Perez P5 ahead of us in P6, our second best points finish of the season after Jeddah, which we got P4. Ocon, Albon in the points as well. Alonso and Sebastian Vettel scores a point for Aston Martin. Magnussen just misses out in P11, again showing what I meant about the Williams pace. You know, considering their bottom, they're actually still pretty quick. Stroll, Aitken miss out the points along with Paul Chair, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Sainz down in P17 with the fastest lap. Gasly, Schumacher, Latifi, Verstappen, Zhou at the back. Standings after 5 rounds, not sure now. Either way, Leclerc leads by 1 point over Hamilton. Verstappen still P3. Ricciardo, Norris hot on his heels, and McLaren showing some pretty good form. We jump up into the top 10, overtaking Zhou and Mick Schumacher, and there's a 10-point gap to Alonso ahead. So that's a bit of a, you know, mountain decline, but still happy days and outperforming a lot of cars that should be down there. And we're still ahead of Carlos Sainz, who's in P13. In the constructors, we stay P7, but we put some crucial breathing space between us, AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo. Aston Martin got points, so did Alfa Romeo, but crucially we got a lot more, so we can relax. That P7 target is still looking good. Anyway, let's go into upgrades. Now, it's a very short 3-day turnaround until the next race in Monaco, so we're not going to have time to get upgrades on, but we'll just go ahead and do activities, make sure that Paul Chair stays nice and sharp. We have this major upgrade for the aero on the way for the rear downforce that will arrive on the 2nd of June, so that's about a week away, so it should be on for the next race after Monaco. We're going to go ahead though and add to that. We've got 1400 points, so I fancy a chassis upgrade. Let's have a look if we can get anything. So we've got the fuel tank, which is a bit too expensive right now. We've also got the cockpit weight reduction, that's relatively affordable. And also the heat dispersing wheel rims, which are a bit out of price right now. So I think we're going to go for cockpit weight reduction. 1,000 points, we could definitely afford it. What about on the engine? Do we have any options? We've got engine power, ERS, and fuel efficiency, one for each. To be fair, we, you know, could consider them as good options as well. But I'm going to go for the chassis. Weight reduction is key for us, and we're going to get that on the car ASAP. There we go, 16 days, very quick turnaround, and that will take us very close to AlphaTauri. Still second from bottom though in the chassis, we're lacking a bit in that department. But there we go, job done for us here in Spain. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. A very successful episode and a big points payoff. If you enjoyed this one, guys, leave a like and subscribe. Let's try and smash over 1,000 likes and help me out as I'm on the road to 100,000 subs. As always, a massive shout out to the members for supporting the content. Finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care, and let's go back from me.